Vehicle available for a missionary, your next missionary that comes home. And within a few weeks, they got a phone call, and that's the way it started. And that was in 2005. And over the years, we found that this is a very big problem for these people to come home and try to find a vehicle and maintain it during their time. Some years ago, one missionary told me, I picked him up at the airport, and he was taking me home and then going to take the van to where he was going to use it. He told me, he said, during this year that I'm using your vehicle, he said, you're going to be our largest single supporter. Because he said, I know what it costs us every time we come home for a furlough. And we charge $3 a day for the using our vehicle. And that includes insurance and all the maintenance, any maintenance it needs throughout their time. And he said, during this year, he said, you're our largest single supporter. No church or individual gives us more than what you'll be giving us in savings. And to me, that's really a motivator to realize that what a need we're filling. And so, anyway, we have quite a fleet of vehicles. We've got 34 vehicles, and not a one of them are in North Dakota right now. They're scattered throughout the United States. We just had a couple 10 days ago came in on Amtrak from Chicago, and he's a medical doctor from Kenya. He and his wife came on the train. We gave them a vehicle. They drove back to Chicago, and when they're finished with it, they'll return it. And we have people driving from all over to get our vehicles, and it's that $3 a day thing that kind of attracts them. And all they have to do is just change oil and furnish gas. Other than that, we pay for all the maintenance. So anyway, what I think it's a waste of kingdom resources for those people to travel so far to get a vehicle. And what I think should happen is, I think in any community, let's just pick Branson, Missouri. I think in Branson, Missouri, there should be 2 or 3 individual families that have an extra vehicle for a missionary that's going to be coming home to this area, so that the vehicle would be, very close to them, and they wouldn't have to, spend a bunch of time and effort going to get a vehicle, and it would relieve so much stress for them, knowing that this vehicle is there and it's going to be available for them. They don't have to worry about buying one, selling it, getting it licensed, getting it insured, that it would all be taken care of. And so I'd like to plant that seed in your minds to either do that, or you might know somebody. You might have a neighbor or a friend that would be interested in doing something like this. And it's not very complicated, and I'd be glad to walk you through if you had any questions about the process. And another benefit that I never thought of when I started doing this is you get to know these missionaries on a totally different level. Normally you hear them speak for 15 minutes or 20 minutes at a church service, and they tell you what they're doing and a little bit about their family. But once you work with them for 6 months or a year during their furlough, and when they come and get the vehicle and they return it, you spend some time with them. And we have some families that have, I think they've used our vehicles on four different furloughs, over the years. And so we've gotten to know them very well. So anyway, if we've got a table set up here, and so Matt and I can answer some of your questions if you have them. And we have some gifts, some I think are inspiring gifts that we'd like to give each family. Several of these gifts. They're, I think one of the things that a fellowship like this can easily do is inspire each other. And I've been inspired by the speakers and the stories of some of the disaster relief and the mission work that's been done by this organization. So really appreciate the time to share this with us or share this with you. So stop by and just as I looked over there, I got to tell you something. That Napa sign standing there, you'd think, oh, yeah, what's with that? About 10 years ago, I was at our local Napa store, and the owner, at the time, he didn't know my name. Excuse me. And he said, what are you doing to keep yourself busy? And so I told him what I was doing. And he had the look on his face, and he said, really? He said, what do you call your organization? And I told him it's Grace Corporation is what we call ourselves. He said, I'll tell you what. He said, I want to open up a charge account for Grace Corporation, and whatever you use, any parts that you need for those vehicles that you have for missionaries, you just charge it to that Grace account. And he said, at the end of every month, he said, that balance will just go to zero. And that was over 10 years ago. We have never, ever received a bill. And this is thousands of dollars every year. And it's, batteries, shock struts, brakes, plugs, wires, any kind of sensors. I just had I had to remove one of the rear heads on one of these caravans, and if you know anything about that, that's a real headache. Anyway, so I needed all of the gaskets and the head bolts and everything to put that head back on, and when I get home I'll put it back on. But anyway, so and they just order all those parts, and had to special order some of them. Here they come, absolutely no cost, never got me billed, and that's a big reason why we can charge $3 a day. So God has been very, very faithful, and 17 years ago I would have never said, God isn't calling me to do that. I viewed myself as, okay, the room is dark, I know where the light switch is, I'll go turn it on. That's all I thought I was doing, is, I was helping somebody out. But now when I look back, I realize that God has called me to do this, and He is the supplier, He's the source. Because $3 a day, I mean, that's ridiculous. And it's still the same. And we have missionaries contact us on the email and say, they said, we've seen your website, and we want to know what your current rental rate is. And of course, when I tell them it's $3 a day, that's pretty hard for them to believe. But anyway, so it's really a God-inspired time that we've had for the last years. We've got a question in the back.
Does that Grace account in Napa work in Monroe, Wisconsin?
I don't think so. Now, when we need parts out on the road, we just have to write a check for them, and that's and it's really strange that we have never asked for anybody to help us do what we do. Never indicated that we have a need, and God's never trusted me with very much money, so we could never do this on our own. But people just walk up to us, and had one family had a Chrysler Town and Country that was 3 years old, had 45,000 miles on it. The book value was over $18,000, and they called us up and said, we'd like to donate this. So they drove out the farm, and here's the keys, here's the title. Said, they're yours. And you should have seen the missionaries when they, for $3 a day, this is what they get, It's a fancy, it's got leather seats, a backup camera, and the wireless headsets for the DVD player that's in the back. And anyway, it's a first-class unit for $3 a day. And now it has 180,000 miles on it now. Anyway, so God has put in the hearts and minds of people to help this project. The same guy that donated the Town and Country, he in last December he gave us $10,000. And I don't know where the guy lives. He lives, 30 miles from us. I've never been to his house. And he's only been to our place once. And so, we're not close friends. We're not close buddies. We've never sent out a prayer letter, an informative newsletter or anything. We've never, shook the bushes for any support. But people just show up. Now, who gives $10,000 to some yo-yo down the road that says he gives cars to missionaries? But anyway, but God is the only answer. And he is over and over, he's telling me, I am your provider. It's not anybody else. It's I, God. The I am is who the provider is. Question?
Love what you're doing. Question came up, how do the missionaries find you?
Okay, I've got a real simple website. If you just look gracecorporation.org, there's a little simple Mickey Mouse website. And if some people have Googled that and found it, but there are organizations that list different ways for missionaries to get help. And one of them is Servant Care. That usually focuses on housing. So when missionaries need to go, when they're going someplace and need a place to stay for a few days or a few weeks or even a month, this Servant Care has a whole list of housing availability. Anyway, they have a list of vehicle rentals, and we're listed on that. And then, but now once we've been doing this, the missionaries, they know us, and we're completely booked up through this summer. Our next available van will be like in November. Next summer is about 3/4 full. We have bookings into 2024 and 25 already. Missionaries have reserved vehicles that far in advance. And we turn away 2 to 3 applicants for every one we're able to serve. Because like right now, somebody will say, okay, I need something starting, August 15th. Well, the answer is no. And that's where we're at. This is my salesman here.
Norval's a very humble man. He's a retired farmer and retired crop duster, aerial applicator, I guess. He won't say what a tool he is in God's hands. But what he does is nothing special. It's something that every guy in this room can do.
Amen.
And by definition, a farmer is a mechanic. This weekend here, this week is the first time we've ever done this, gone on the road and shared what we do, or what he does. It's just he and his wife, and they've been doing it for many, many years, and they're such a blessing. They got a binder of tear-stained letters this thick from missionaries saying what a blessing they are to them in their time of need. They're flying back to the United States still not knowing where they're going to get transportation. But we can help with this. You can help with this. I can help with this. This is something that we can do. And what a beautiful use of kingdom resources it can be if we can do that. I urge you, every family here, to stop by our table. Norval's got a gift that he'd like to give each one of you. And you ask how you could reach out to the ministry. He's got his business card as well. So he wants to give you his business card and a little gift as well. So we don't want to take any more time. We thank you for your time and attention.
Praise the Lord. Thank you.